What up? What up? Welcome back to the channel. We got some breaking news. We just got off of Monday mistakes, and well, they didn't raided Diddy's house, y'all. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button when you come on in here. We got a lot to talk about. Oh man, we still getting set up, man. I ain't expect us to get back on this live, but here we are. Hit that like button when you get in here. Hit that like button. Oh man. Here we go. What up, Tracy? Thank you for joining back in here. We got us an emergency breaking news. It happened while we were on the live, 2:56 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Well, this is what we all been waiting to see, man. This is what we all been waiting to see. We'll let a few more people come in here. We'll get this thing loaded up and pick up where we left off. We was only a minute in. Feds also raiding Miami home connected to Diddy. Ain't that something? Well, what did we just talk about with Dr. Maurice? No means no. Diddy like to party. Sometimes you got to tell that nigga Diddy no. So it looks more and more like that nigga Cat Williams was sounding like it is. All right, well, we got these houses getting raided. It's about to get ugly for these next couple of weeks, but let's go ahead and jump into this thing, man. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's see what the hell they talking about. We'll just start it over from the beginning.
Those heavily armored gear and equipment, I don't think they're actually searching for any items that could connect whatever the investigation is. I would venture to say that those are going to be the guys that you're seeing right there, and they're waiting for that all clear. And then this group that you see there, those are the ones that are actually going to go inside. They probably have, like you said, they probably have ideas what they're looking for, where they might be. So, but right now it is still a waiting game to make sure that everybody is out of this building and that it is secure for the investigators to make their way in and actually start that search.
And we should mention, thank you, Stu, that if this is in fact involving a sex trafficking investigation, we do know that according to Diddy's attorneys and the rapper himself, he has denied any wrongdoing in any of all this. So there are two sides, of course, to this as this all plays out. But it is interesting that these raids happening at the same time. According to TMZ, a raid of his Miami home is happening right now, as well as now we're looking at the live pictures of what's going on in Holmby Hills at this mansion right here, all connected to Sean Combs. So again, until we find out further word as to what exactly they're searching for and why, we continue to look at the procedures taking place regarding this raid that's being conducted by Homeland Security. You have support from local law enforcement officials as well. We saw from the ground shots, you see multiple agencies there. A part of all.
Oh, give me a second.
Onto this property, and you saw the juxtaposition of these heavily armed vehicles and those very expensive luxury cars that are parked right on that driveway right there. So clearly a very different sight than we're used to seeing. But there you see some of the people that were inside that mansion at the time of the raid. They are being talked to by investigators, by people from the Department of Homeland Security. I could see they're getting their pictures taken as well. So maybe they don't know who they're looking for or who they have in front of them at this point. But again, part of the process of gathering information as to who in particular was on the grounds at the time that they made entry during this raid. So if we do have a vantage point from the ground there, I'm not sure if we have a ground people that were inside that.
So both of his sons were there, Christian and Justin. They were both there in handcuffs. Now, Justin was the one, He was named in the new lawsuit that the man is accusing him of for being there helping recruiting the women. Oh man, this shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. If you got money like this, man, Diddy knew what was up. I ain't saying like I ain't no aiding in the bedding or nothing, but man, I would have been the fuck up out the country so quick. I wouldn't even been as soon as Cassie dropped the lawsuit on a nigga like me. I'm gone, nigga. I'm not paying no money. I'm getting the fuck up out the country. Oh well, this is what happens when you think you above the law. They got Trump ass in there. They about to get Diddy ass. They getting everybody. So if you did any crimes, man, good luck to you.
All of this, and they have a number of resources on hand with a drone flying up top, as well as they had ladders taking a closer look at certain parts of the property. And so they are looking at every nook and cranny they need to in terms of why they're investigating this home and property. So clearly this is going to take a while. And as Haley mentioned, with her shot down on the ground right there, more people are coming to your area, Haley.
Make sure you hit that like button for me.
Yeah, I would say it's mostly media at this point. We were
Emergency Live.
The first ones here on scene, but yeah, since there's probably a dozen different media agencies, yeah, it looks like his homes on both coasts are being raided. We still have not gotten word on exactly where P. Diddy is, if he is in fact in New York right now or in Los Angeles, and of course, yeah, we haven't seen him here in Holmby Hills.
So that nigga Diddy wasn't at the house, but his sons were. That nigga Diddy, he ain't slick. Diddy probably out the country. They raiding his Miami home, his LA home, but they don't know where Diddy at. He might be in New York, but they ain't for sure. Man, that nigga Diddy gone. He done left his kids out to hang. If Diddy is out the country and he left his boys here, that's fucked up. If they say, well, Diddy ain't in the country no more, and both his sons out here in handcuffs, oh man.
This is right off of Sunset and Beverly Glen, and it all unfolded, I'd say, about 30 minutes ago. They're at his home here. They're also at his home in Miami. Of course, it's a little bit calmer, I would say, than it was about 20 minutes ago when it all happened. The guns that were drawn earlier have been since put away. It looks like they just put away their drone, but of course doing a thorough job of checking the home for any kind of details that they can come up with related to these allegations against sex trafficking. As you said, Sandra, there's several lawsuits against him for these allegations, all of which he has denied. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, and everybody's interested in the details of what how he's connected to these latest allegations.
And from your vantage
we'll bring
point,
the very latest as soon as, I'm sorry?
Yeah, from your vantage point, Haley, does it look like some authorities are leaving the scene right now? They're done, or not? Is that not the case?
No, it looks like more are coming. I think what you're seeing is just the vehicles moving to a different location. We're kind of at the bottom of the hill, but if you go up a little bit farther, some of the vehicles that you saw down here earlier have since kind of gone to the other side of the hill.
What up,
this is
crazy?
Obviously a very prestigious neighborhood. I said earlier, Humphrey Bogart's former house, I think, is next door to P. Diddy's in the 200 block here of Mapleton and Holmby Hills.
I'm gonna try to find something a little more interesting. This looks like they just sitting around. We need
So the vehicles have
some
basically
actual
just
information.
moved forward. You're
Well,
seeing
this
a
is
lot
early
more
in
of those,
They took them into custody.
Here we go. Give us some more information.
As far as the officers go, I would probably put this group closer to 100. Not just what we're seeing right here. This is just one group of many that have made their way out here to this Holmby Hills area. And as far as the suits that we were talking about, that's part of the group right there. But there's some other ones as well, younger ones that were basically leading the charge. And that's them right there, actually. They perfect timing. And it looks like they're making their way over towards the home. They might be the first ones to make their way in to start that investigation process, or figure out where we're going to look, what we're looking for, and then later on the suits will make their way in as well. But this, like you said, is going to be a very long process out here, and this is just the very, very beginning. And the folks that they had taken into custody, they've moved them out of the area right now. And again, I wouldn't say that they are arrested. We don't know that for a fact. They took them into custody. A few of them still had cuffs on. Some of them didn't. So maybe this was a division of, these are people that we know work here. These are people that may be associated with Sean Combs. Or Bad Boy Entertainment. So it's one of those type of situations. And until they know who they are, they're just going to keep them in custody and possibly just let them.
Let me see. So this is what's going on in Miami.
What is that, a porta potty?
So right there, that truck that pulled up, that's the command right there. So when I used to go to responses, I'd have to go in there and brief like the commander on what we found or how we're going to enter into the scene. Now, of course, it's not the same kind of command center that the SWAT, the DEA would use. This is where all the big things would be at in here. So they open up shop, kind of like the negotiator where they was in there. Man, my son, shut up, nigga. Shit, they ain't headed over here, man.
Them go later on. And I don't believe the word arrested has been used out here as of yet. But again, still very active situation. And of course, that is a huge house. And they've got a lot of rooms to clear before they allow those investigators in.
Yeah, we talk about the process of bringing this many law enforcement officials to the scene to have a raid like this and conduct a raid and make entry into a Holmby Hills mansion that's owned by a prominent celebrity and their business. So clearly, this is something that doesn't happen just overnight.
This is a
Law
nice house,
enforcement
though.
officials do have to have their evidence ready. They have to make sure every T is crossed in order to make entry into a home like this for an investigation. So when we talk about and see these kinds of raids happen or having them be conducted, it kind of shows that they do have enough evidence that their investigation is to a certain point where they have made a search warrant and they've gotten all of the evidence they need to have a search warrant, that they have to establish that a crime was possibly committed and there's evidence of probable cause and a crime that has taken place. So all of these things, they have to meet a threshold before law enforcement can just come together like this and approach a property and make entry. So we're seeing that here at Holmby Hills and also in Miami, where they are searching Sean Combs' Miami home as well. So again, this doesn't just happen overnight. This is a process that they've been working on for quite some time to make sure that they have enough evidence to be able to conduct a raid like this, especially with so many law enforcement agencies involved, investigators involved, and you see just personnel involved on location right there. And you do see a number of people. This is going to be an active situation for quite some time. Again, we don't know what they're looking for. We don't know what the interest is right now. We can only presume that it is part of a sex trafficking investigation.
Now, from what we heard in like the Cassie lawsuit, they don't know what they're looking for right now. But if like not making light of the situation, but if you remember, they were talking about this nigga P. Diddy used to record everything. So they might be looking for like well, you already know whenever they do a raid like this, all electronics are gone. So they probably about to be looking for videos, the R. Kelly tapes. They about to be looking for everything. Them Freak Mill tapes. Man, they about to go through this nigga's house. I'm talking about any and everything that he has. If it's a like if it's handwritten notes from like the 90s, if he did have anything to do with like the murders and shit, dog, it's over with. Like this right here. And they said they've been working on it. No raid like this is just gonna go out and happen within like a week or two. They've been preparing for this shit for months. So probably since the Cassie thing went down, they just been piecing it together. Now, also there was a shooting that happened in LA at a studio, but Diddy and them allegedly said that they didn't have nothing to do with it. But that's the new lawsuit that came out by the gentleman that was actually there. The one that said Cuba Gooding Jr., who we know who just got out of jail, he was over there fondling with him allegedly. So it's a lot of shit going on right now. And this is just the very tip of the iceberg. Like what's about to happen to him, I don't want to hear nobody saying, man, the system, Mo, it's the system. No, this nigga Diddy's fucked up. He's done. It's over with. They not raiding your house for no reason. Not both of them at the same damn time. Like, I don't want to hear none of that. It's the system, man. They doing a black man wrong. No, nigga. This is the same process they took when they got Epstein ass up out of here. It just Epstein said he was about to tell on everybody, so they got rid of him. So Diddy, the ball's in your court. Jay-Z, you need to be watching your back. Nigga, it's about to get ugly out here. It's about to get ugly out here. And me personally, I'm a fan of 50 Cent, so I'll be waiting to see the trolling. What up, Detroit Kings? We got us an emergency meeting tonight, y'all. We got breaking news. They in Diddy's house. This ain't no pause moment. They are really in this nigga shit right now. This ain't no pause moment for Diddy. This is they in it. Both of them. Same damn time. Left hand, right hand. They in the cookie jar right now. And you know they gonna find something. They gonna find something, even if it's a little bit of coke here, a little bit of coke there. But Diddy knew that this raid was coming, because why is his sons there and they just don't know where Diddy's at? His lawyers had inside information to know that this raid was happening, because he just ain't here and they don't know if he's in New York or not. Any other time, we know exactly where Diddy is at. Where the hell is Diddy at? Both of your sons out here getting arrested, and you just know where to be found. All right. Don't be surprised if this nigga pops up overseas somewhere. Like, hey, we haven't seen him, but we got a statement from his lawyer. He's overseas in Dubai right now because there ain't no extradition over there. He could go to Bali, but Diddy, he still got all of his money. Well, for the most part. Well, whatever he got left that isn't tied up in stocks and bonds, because I doubt he has $1 billion liquid. We see the same thing with Trump. He swears he's a billionaire, but they don't have his money liquid. So don't be surprised if he's like, they get a statement, this nigga's over in like Dubai or something, just chilling. So the next person we need to go, Young Miami. Where you at, girl?
Those are multiple lawsuits that Sean Combs have been facing this year alone. Allegations that he denies, but clearly this could be all part of the process here. But again, law enforcement does just not go in willy-nilly into a home and conduct a raid like this unless they get the necessary evidence they need to get that search warrant to acquire entry as well. So if we could take a look from Haley's point of view, it does seem like there are more individuals gearing up, or maybe more investigators on the scene from the ground there, Haley.
Hey, Sandra. Yes, we're actually trying to get an interview lined up, obviously live with the Department of Homeland Security. We had a lady come down here just a minute ago and give her card. So trying to contact her so we can, of course, get some official details from her, because everything that we're getting is basically behind the scenes from our law enforcement sources here. So basically, we don't have anything new yet. We're still just waiting to kind of figure out exactly what happened. We know, of course, P. Diddy's homes on both coasts have been raided. You can see some more officers coming out of his property right now. Just trying to see if I could see the lady who we're hoping to get the interview with, and she's just messaging me back, so I've got to send her an email for the request first. So we're working on that to get you some more details. But yeah,
Diddy,
still,
San Diego.
Still very active on scene, just more and more vehicles showing up. This is largely, most of the law enforcement officers here, Sandra, are of course the Department of Homeland Security.
No, I don't think the twins are there.
And LAPD here as well. So as soon as I can get anything official on camera, we'll come back and let you know.
Definitely. I know what it's like on the ground right there. You're dealing with a lot of officials trying to get some answers, trying to talk to people. And of course, it is very difficult to do two things at once. So we will let you get to work right there on the ground. Let's go up to Stu again. As I was mentioning the procedure of this, and you've covered so many of these types of stories, you've been overhead when these raids have happened. This isn't a process that just happens overnight. Clearly, they are looking for something. They have enough evidence, and they were able to get a search warrant before they could even do or conduct a raid like this.
Oh, you definitely, as Sandra, and what you're talking about really kind of shows exactly what you're trying to point out, that this didn't just happen overnight. This wasn't just an accusation and they came and, knocked down the doors and started tearing.
No, I think I'm not for sure. I'm trying to pull up other articles over here. The only ones I have seen is Justin and Christian. So the two boys are there. We don't know if Quincy was there, and I don't think the twins were there. So they might be like in New York or something, and Quincy might just be out working. But the two other boys were there, Justin and Christian. So Quincy ain't there, and the twins ain't there. And then I don't even what's the little baby that the nigga just had? Well, Love. She look like with the mama. So it's ugly. Well, the whole thing, like as far as Diddy's money's going, I don't know if people's really been like following up, but you know, the whole thing with the liquor brand, Diageo or whatever it was called. Well, they cut off the ties with that. They said he made over $1 billion, but never invested like more than like $2,500 or $100 or something like that. But part of that lawsuit was, and there's speculation that the lawsuit from them, those lawyers are tied in with Cassie. But what the company was accusing him of was taking the marketing budget and paying his employees out of it. Instead of using the marketing budget to actually market the liquor and stuff, Diddy was using allegedly, well, it wasn't alleged, it was in the lawsuit. That's how they dropped it all. They were saying he took the marketing budget, let's just say $20 million, and he was paying his employees out of that. So that's one reason why they wanted to cut it off. Now, the whole time, like this nigga Diddy's been lying to us for years and years. I've never been a fan of Diddy. I always thought the nigga was corny to me, but that's just me being a kid. You know, I fucking West Side. So for me, it was always like Diddy was always whack to me. But they were accusing this nigga of taking the marketing budget and paying his own employees. So when we hear Diddy talk about owning the brands, this nigga never owned anything. Then it's a whole bunch of shit, man. Like it's a whole rabbit hole. I was supposed to do a series called The Man Behind Diddy, no pause. But yeah, like all of his money then came from multiple different people, and it's all tied, and all is going to be exposed, man. I've just been keeping my documentation back here, but let's see if we can get any more current information on this raid, what they found.
Tearing up the house. This was something that's an ongoing investigation. Lawyers, attorneys, and district attorneys, they all have to sign off on this. They have to look this over. Judges have to make that decision as well. And nobody wants to be on the end of a wrongful seizure. So, of course, they needed to show evidence that there is a reason for this type of force and for these officers to make their way into this home. And then again, of course, the world we live in today, all of these officers that are showing up, they all know that, you know, we are everybody's under a watchful eye nowadays. So they made every effort to do this as quickly and as less destructive as possible. We watched them trying to get through one of those side gates. That pedestrian gate was giving them a little bit of an issue, but in the end, they got in there. And after that, they made their way in very quickly. We didn't see any doors being smashed or things getting kicked in. It was basically a lot of opening up and just letting that garage door, somebody got in there and they opened up that garage door, and or possibly the people inside were curious what was going on, and they opened up that garage door. But again, the forceful entry part of it really truly was just in a little bit here in that side gate. Everything else was very quick and with etiquette would be the best way to say it. Actually, they went in and they just did what
I'm gonna get some live news. Give me a second.
Again, the reason why they're still there, I can tell you, it's not like a television show where they're pulling out drawers and dumping out clothes and just trashing the place. They just want to make sure that there are no other people inside that building that may still be scared, hiding, or having a problem. And as soon as that word is given, which I'm sure is going to come shortly, because we already saw a couple of the groups making their way in, less armed. So they're making their way in. They're going to start looking for, then of course, even in that the warrant, they're going to have a list of things that they are able to look at, able to take. It isn't just a random search. They actually have to go in and actually find things that they believe have information or evidence that could create a guilty or innocent situation for Sean Combs. So at any rate, this is still very ongoing, very preliminary, but again, we do see a large force out there, which, like you're trying to say, or what I believe you did say, is that this is a warranted search. And of course, they are here and they are definitely looking for specific pieces of information. What they are, we don't know.
The Rico Diddy board.
Know, but right now, that search is definitely ongoing.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, we've covered so many of these different.
So hold on, I'm trying to see. Fox has a live, but they aren't doing any talking. They just got the damn camera over it. I see people in the chat talking about free Diddy. Nigga, please, that nigga done. I don't want to see nobody go to jail, but if you deserve it, then well, it's on you. All right, let's continue this.
Types of raids, obviously not always at a celebrity mansion like this in Holmby Hills, but clearly sometimes you see them having to forcefully enter a property and seize evidence, and it doesn't always go so smoothly. And it was in fact very smooth the way they gained entry into this property, and after they figured out that side entrance, they were able to make entry. But it's not like they show in the movies, as you mentioned, Stu, right? They weren't battering down doors and destroying property. This is very methodical. And in terms of many stories we've covered like this, it was a very easy entry, and they were able to access the property and get on site. So clearly, they're ready for anything. Whatever they're going to be met with, you don't know. And that is why they make sure that they are safe in numbers, that they're armored, and that is why you see such a big force out there, because you never know what kind of emotion you're going to be met with.
Definitely, and emotion is really what plays a lot of it, and that's one of the things that we were talking about. Is right now that was the gate where they were having all that trouble. They're actually looking at that actual door and propping it open, but that was the door that was giving them trouble. And I was trying to figure out if that is actually maybe like a private entrance for that back house. It does actually look like it. It seems like if you're staying there, that's how you get in and out without going through the actual house itself. But you can see they still have personnel there on scene. Every house, there's 3 properties that I would say on this big piece of property. They all have some sort of somebody there, just making sure that there isn't anything being taken or anything moving in and out, and or another person in that area. But that main house, there's still a number of folks that like armored personnel that we've seen go in have not seen come out. But there's some of those ones that are not wearing the gear, and those are that first group that made their way in. They were here originally. They came with the armored trucks. They did not make their way into the property. They waited outside, and now they are actually making their way to that front door, which shows you that their progress is being made. And of course, we were keeping an eye on the as we call them, and it is what they are, the suits down there. I'm sure those are the ones that are pretty much running the show, or where all the evidence is going to go to in the end. They are still outside, so that shows you that they're going to be waiting. I would venture to say when they find something, those are the guys that are going to make their way in and actually looking at and taking things from this home. But right now, that's still that process. I wouldn't even think has actually even started.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to take a lot of time. That is a huge mansion to begin with. And then it depends on what they're looking for. It could be as small as a hard drive or as big as boxes.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Just from everything you've been hearing, what do you think is going to be the thing that they discover? Like a hard drive, like a collection of tapes or something? Like DVDs, or it's going to be like old phones, tablets and shit with everything? To what level do you think that, if if all of these things are true, to what extent do you think that is it like Malik off of what's the game? Remember he had that vault with all those tapes? What do you think this man? Diddy's a wild boy. They own his ass though.
Boxes full of evidence or information they're trying to collect and gather. And where all of that information is also the tricky part. I mean, think about going into a stranger's home. You don't know where they put things. And so it could be very hidden. So this whole process, it could take a lot of time in terms of them finding what they made entry for. So this is a methodical, lengthy process. And again, this is taking place right here in Holmby Hills, as well as his Miami home. And I'm sure law enforcement officials from both sides in Miami and LA are certainly talking to each other as they go through this as well. But still no sign of Sean Combs himself. We don't know where he is. It's not clear if they're looking for him. He may be in New York, as Haley was mentioning on the ground there. But clearly, this was in all a very peaceful raid as they made entry, and right now as they are making their way in and out of the property as they conduct their search. But a search that is just beginning, as you see those suits, the investigators taking their time, making sure everything is done properly and methodically in terms of what they're looking for at this point. Again, we have a lot of questions that we just don't know the answers to at this point. We do have someone on the line right now, Hal Kemper. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can make light of what we're looking at in terms of Homeland Security making entry into the Holmby Hills mansion of Sean Combs.
Sandra, this is a Homeland Security Investigation.
People that were inside that
on site. What they're probably looking for is, well, I should say in general, they look at human trafficking and sex trafficking being a component of that. And of course, there's been some rather big civil suit stuff that's taken place, but also the New York case where the statute of limitations basically had been rescinded, allowing them to look back many years in this case. Part of it was there have been allegations that he was drugging young women, so that there was which certainly implies that it was rape that had taken place at some point. But I think what HSI is probably looking at is the interstate aspects of it, if there was any online activity that could have taken place. And that's usually where HSI would have a jurisdictional interest. Homeland Security Investigations being part of the Department of Homeland Security, looking at the interstate side, mostly online and whatever took place across state lines. And of course, he travels all over the place. So I'm sure they're looking at him potentially transporting women around the country, and whether that was tied to a larger criminal activity.
Well, I mean, of course, I know I was asking, what do you think they will find in there? But you got to remember, they humans, bro. So it could be anything, even a regular phone. It might not be nothing now, but it could be a number to somebody. Because you remember Cassie said that she was on there ordering people from different websites. The dude that just filed his said they were bringing underage women over. You know what I'm saying? Like under 18 candles on their cake. It could be anything. In Kathy's lawsuit, remember it said that he had like her medical records. So it could be all kinds of wild shit that he got that we ain't thinking nothing about. But they're about to take all documents, all electronics. They said that there's cameras like everywhere in Diddy's house is recorded. Also, the dude alleges that they keep pouches of like cocaine like throughout the house so Diddy can just grab. You already know anything that they find, they're gonna bring that out to the news. They're gonna make us aware of it. So for me, tomorrow morning, I'm probably gonna be hearing a lot of stuff that's went down because it's 11:45. So we'll finish this video up and we'll try to find some like live feed. But if y'all had to choose, if y'all had to pick, where do y'all think Diddy is? Is Diddy in New York? Is he in the States? Or y'all think Diddy is gone? Like, honestly, do you think he's gone at this point? Or it's like, he might still be here. He might be a fool and still be in the States.
Yeah, definitely Homeland Security involved in any interstate, as you mentioned, and international criminal activity here. So what exactly do you think everyone is looking for at this point? We saw such a large number of law enforcement make entry.
Well, it's a combination of both local and federal. And from what I understand, the local law enforcement has the specific lead at each one of these locations, with the federal federal investigators coming in with them in concert. And what they're probably looking for is any evidence that they can gather. Certainly any.
Well, this is what we've been waiting on. This is what we've been waiting on. Good old 50 Cent. Shout out to my dog 50. And y'all follow me on Instagram, MOEDOTJ. Look what 50 said. Now it's not Diddy do it. It's Diddy done. They don't come like this unless they got a case. Damn. Shout out to my dog 50, man. It's only a matter of time. And as Whack 100 said, for Meek Mill's sake, I hope Diddy got rid of those tapes and photos. Freak Millie, they on your ass too, Mr. Freak Off. Man, it's about to be a couple of crazy days. And we just heard Kendrick Lamar finish off Drake. Pause on the finishing. Damn. I know Drake is kind of happy because you remember Diddy whooped Drake's ass before. So Drake is probably like, yeah. Especially because Kendrick Lamar dissed him on Friday. So all this shit, it just, damn. See, it does pay off to not to be famous or rich, y'all. We ain't got nothing to do with this bullshit. And that's a good thing for us. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. The more you know is pinned in the chat. We're supposed to do something on Wednesday, but look, we got us a breaking news case on a Monday, so we'll take that.
Images, pictures, video, anything online. I've no doubt that they're going in and gathering up any electronic media to include any laptops, any flash drives, anything that he might have that might support whatever allegations, whatever reasonable suspicion that
Rodney
they have that led to this these search warrants. You know, just to get a search warrant like this requires a certain substantial legal barrier has to be, or legal argument or legal litmus test has to be met just to get them to sign off. Particularly knowing with somebody with means like this, that if they go into their home, they're going to be met with some very capable lawyers on the defendant's part to challenge what was ever done. And everything they do there is going to be challenged. So you can imagine, not only did they have to work with the district attorney and potentially assistant U.S. attorneys in arranging this, but they also are being very careful on how they're gathering any evidence, realizing that just about everything they do on site will potentially be challenged in court by his attorneys.
Absolutely. And speaking of his attorneys, we did reach out for comment. We have not yet heard back. Obviously, we want to hear his side. For Sean Combs's part, he has denied any allegations regarding sex trafficking and any investigation into that. But yeah, this could take a lot of time in terms of collecting that hard drive and flash drives and any computers they may find. Like I was mentioning before, Hal, it's very difficult to know where someone would have that or would hide that if they were trying to hide evidence. And we're looking at a big mansion here. Before we get back to you, Hal, let's go to Haley on the ground there.
Hey, Sandra. Yes, we just got that statement from the Department of Homeland Security that I was trying to get for you guys about 10 minutes ago. It doesn't say a whole lot, but it says this is attributed to Homeland Security Investigations. Earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. We will provide further information as it becomes available. So nothing really that we haven't already told you. Here on the scene, on the ground, a lot of the law enforcement officers with Homeland Security have gone up the hill. You can see one of those big command vehicles coming out, one of those police vehicles. In the meantime, behind us, several of his friends, they've identified themselves as, have been trying to get through the crime scene to get to the house. But of course, LAPD not letting them through. We've tried to get comment from them on camera to find out if they have any more information about what's going on.
I mean, they ain't giving us no real information. Yeah, let's see something.
30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up this street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats and law enforcement. And on the other side of those bushes, basically, is that home that is registered to Bad Boy Films, which is part of Bad Boy Entertainment. And the home in particular is registered not only to Bad Boy Films, but to one of P. Diddy's daughters.
They are heavily armed and
You hear that? So the house it's registered to Bad Boy Film. So if you try to sue like Diddy, okay, you can get the house and everything. But the house is also in his daughter's name. This nigga Diddy is a conniving mother boy. You hear that? This nigga got the house in his daughter's. And y'all mean to tell me that this nigga's a legit mogul? Nigga, you doing all this illegal shit and you got this shit in your daughter's name? Nigga, put that shit up under 2 or 3 different LLCs, man, up under a couple of different properties. Nigga, you know you was wilding out in this $40 million mansion and you got this shit in your daughter's name, nigga? What kind of shit? Hey, man, this nigga Diddy is different.
Is registered not only to Bad Boy Films, but to one of P. Diddy's daughters.
They are heavily armed, and they've been very tactful, would probably be the best word to use, as they made entry into this home this afternoon. We actually watched them as they made their way through one of these side gates, and as soon as they got inside the home, one of the first things they did was made their way into this garage that you see is open right there. Now, they did take a couple people into custody. We witnessed that. Now, are they under arrest?
30 different law.
Okay, and this is just a photo of the sons. So this is Christian over here, and then this is Justin here. They got them both in handcuffs. Well, they not arrested, so they're just being detained for the moment because they were inside the house. Let's see if anybody else got any real. I'll take this off the screen while we look it up.
But they haven't been able to they don't want to provide us any information, I should say. And just in case you're just joining us, we have homes of P. Diddy being raided on both coasts, Miami and his home here in Holmby Hills.
So, Haley, just to clarify, in that statement, it didn't mention Sean Combs, correct?
What up, movement?
Anything.
It doesn't, but we have confirmation from multiple law enforcement sources that this does involve Sean Combs or P. Diddy. But no, this statement, I'll read it one more time, says earlier today, Homeland Security Investigations New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from both HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners.
All right.
We'll provide further information as it becomes available. Of course, we're trying to get them to talk to us on camera, but they said, the lady in particular who sent me the statement says she's not allowed to.
Thank you so much. Yeah, not really clarifying a whole lot, though, but clearly understandable because right now, maybe they're not in position to divulge any more information. So let's bring in Hal Kemper here again from Homeland Security. Thank you so much for your expertise in all this. I don't know if you heard that statement, but didn't really say anything except that an investigation is underway in Miami and here. So clearly not stating who it involves or what the charges are.
It doesn't, and they might be crime scenes. I should clarify, I'm not from Homeland Security, but I work in Homeland Security, and I've worked with Homeland Security Investigations over many years. Very familiar with not only the agency, but also a lot of the individuals, a lot of the people who work there, to include here in Los Angeles, especially. What they're probably looking at are the 2 residences, one in New York, one in Los Angeles. Without it, and I haven't seen the documentation, but if it doesn't name Sean Combs by name, it's probably because there's been allegations that criminal activity had taken place tied to sex trafficking at these locations. So what they're doing is they're looking at the locations themselves and investigating them as potential crime scenes. And of course, with that, I'm sure the scope is such that they can look just about anywhere, gather up any materials. They're probably gathering up any electronic materials. They're probably doing things like imaging the place, taking a lot of pictures and stuff that may be used later. Could be in reference to what witnesses say on the stand, that they may look at various pictures of the locations themselves to help refresh their memory while they're talking about various activities that may have taken place or alleged to have taken place. So there's a lot of reasons why they might not focus on him per se. Also, there's another thing too, is he runs a fairly large organization. The fact that they don't name him might mean that they're looking at other activities that could have taken place within his immediate, entourage.
Well, as far as what he's saying, that's bringing up everything that was in. I forgot the dude's name, whatever the guy's name is. Little Rod. Hey, yo, pause. So the dude's name is Little Rod, the last suit that was brought up. But there was also a lawsuit that was brought up by a woman that says she was 17 when Diddy flew her from Detroit to New York. And then Little Rod, he's the one that just recently put that out and said, I mean, she can't rap or that, but the chick's name like Young Miami from the City Girls. They listed her name in there because they said her and her cousin were wilding out and she was helping recruit girls. So it's a lot of shit going on. And as you heard him say, Diddy's name wasn't mentioned. So maybe they're looking at all of his associates and everyone around him. So all this, it's just about to get a lot of people sucked up into it. And I'm not talking about like TD Jakes talking about being swallowed. TD Jakes, they probably after your ass too. But let me show y'all something. So this guy, shout out to Gossip in the City. You know what I'm saying? She be having everything.
For his boy Puffy. I warn Keefy D to take his ass over there. There's no extradition laws over there. So I'm warning you now, Puffy. Take your ass over there. Reggie prediction. I know Puffy is smart enough, and he probably done already cleaned his houses. But sexual predators, what do they do? And we'd be like, damn, why? They treat their sex tapes like, yeah, remember that song, Me and My Girlfriend, that Pac did? What he was talking about? What was Pac talking about, y'all? And that, do y'all really know what he was talking about? For those of y'all know what he's talking about a gun, but sexual predators is what hold on to their tapes. And cops know that. So I wouldn't be surprised if some storages or some of Puffy properties be getting raided real soon, because they need to get to those tapes. They get one of those tapes with him with those little people that's been making the accusations. Woo, man. Done. But Puffy the type, he'll blow his brains out, guarantee y'all. Or do like he did on that corkscrew lie, how he did. We know what you did, Puff. Misa told us, nigga, you slit your wrist. He gonna do something stupid like that. Yep.
Now, this guy's named Reggie White. So he was around with like Death Row and stuff. Shout out to Bombs First. I be listening to his interviews on Bombs First on YouTube. This is Gossip of the City. She usually always has all the information, but he predicted this raid 3 months ago because he's involved in all of this. He used to be around Suge Knight. So he has some interesting stories if you ever want to go to YouTube and listen to him over there on Bombs First. But man, it's a lot of stuff going on. Even Suge Knight got his little podcast from prison. He be talking about some stuff and people be saying, oh man, that's just Suge. But nah, it really be making sense. It really be making sense because they all know what's been going on. They all knew Diddy's been moving like this for decades. It's finally catching up. And what we were talking about, it just takes one tape, maybe a text message or something to somebody underage. It just takes one thing. And once you go from there, it's over with. BK said, according to Rolling Stone, 3 women and 1 man have sat down with investigators in NY for trafficking and RICO case against Diddy. Rolling Stone, Diddy X.
Or his organization that involved these properties. So one can't rule out anything at this point because we don't know a lot.
Sure, and obviously this is just their statement to the press at this point. So what the actual legal documents say and what the statement they gave us is very, very different, let's be clear. So we're sometimes, not privy to all of those details and information until it becomes available at a later date. But you were mentioning the whole search process. We're seeing so many law enforcement officials, investigators, and this is basically 3 properties on this entire, or 3 3 homes, I should say, buildings on this entire property in Holmby Hills we're talking about. How long is it going to take for them to go through it? Do they have a time limit? I mean, essentially, some people are going to come back into the home, right, at some point. So how does that all play out?
I'm sure if you were to ask them, they'd say it's going to take as long as it takes. These are huge properties. You can imagine looking through one home takes a lot of time, but when you have 3 very large buildings with a lot of different rooms, various different levels on those homes. Also, they're going to be looking at every nook and cranny. They'll be looking anything that's subsurface in the home. They'll be looking in basically everywhere they can. They could be using a variety of sensor systems to find out if there's any hidden compartments, safes, things like that, and walls that aren't readily apparent. There could be a lot of different things they're looking for, and they may have dogs there too, looking for various different things as well. But they're probably looking for more where stuff may be held. I would imagine with that, and of course anything tied to any of the allegations. We don't know, but certainly the fact that they're there indicates that they probably had some witnesses say that certain things happened or certain things were there when they were there, and they're probably trying to verify if those things are in fact there, if that what they were told is correct. So there's probably just a lot of things that they're working through, checking off a list of stuff. And by the way, they may be looking on the grounds themselves. There could be stuff that's not necessarily in the buildings that are on the grounds. And of course, they'd be looking at that as well. I imagine it's going to take quite some time with a property this big.
All right, but they ain't really giving us no information. But over on Variety is the what BK was talking about. Sean Diddy properties raided by Homeland Security as part of the trafficking investigation.
Just a quick word from our sponsor.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes.
Terms and conditions 18+. Sean Diddy Combs properties raided by Homeland Security as part of sex trafficking investigation by Tanya Garcia. Properties owned by Sean Diddy Combs located in Miami and Los Angeles were raided by Homeland Security on Monday afternoon. NBC News cited an unnamed source as saying that 3 women and a man have been interviewed by federal officials in Manhattan, and 3 other interviews are scheduled in relation to allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, and the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. However, it remains unconfirmed whether Combs himself is the focus of the investigation, although multiple sexual misconduct claims have been levied against him in recent months. The raids were first reported by Fox 11 News. In a statement, Homeland Security Investigations confirmed, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI New York executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles.
Yeah, we not about to listen to that damn robot all night. Blah, 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 blah. From SA charges that started last year with accusations from the R&B singer Cassie, who dated Combs for years, in a suit filed on November 16th. We know that. The following day, 2 parties settled the lawsuit, described as amicable terms. Another lawsuit filed in December alleged that Combs had G-Ray, a 17-year-old, in 2003. The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe, accused Combs applying her with drugs and alcohol at his New York studio, and then R-word her along with 2 associates. The suit accused Combs of trafficking, in which Jane Doe was flown from a private jet from her home in Michigan to New York. Douglas Windor, lawyer Cassie and Jane Doe, responded to reports of a search warrant issued on Sean Combs, writing, "We will always support law enforcement." So wait, a lawyer for Cassie and Jane Doe responded to reports of a search warrant. Oh, so they didn't spoke on. So Cassie and the Jane Doe They didn't spoke to law enforcement and said, hey, we support law enforcement. And if there is a warrant, we will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those that have violated the law. Hopefully, this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible. Sheesh. So they got people sitting down and talking. It's over with. I think that's pretty much it, brother. Let me see. "27 minutes ago." That's CNN.
For them to work through all of the potential spaces and places where materials could be.
Thank you so much. We will have more on Fox 11 app. So if you get.
By the way, they may be looking on the grounds themselves. There could be stuff that's not necessarily in the buildings that are on the grounds. And of course, they'd be looking at that as well. I imagine it's going to take quite some time with a property this big for them to work through all of the potential spaces and places where materials could be.
Thank you so much. We will have more on Fox 11 app. So if you get information, we'll once again. And now we resume to our original program.
This is our family farm. And our third player is Zach. D20.
Really, Fox? That's how y'all gonna do? Y'all just gonna take us into a damn commercial? What else? Support gaming? Well, as of right now, I mean, that's pretty much all the info we got. It's what, 12 o'clock? I got to get ready to go to bed. But man, if we got anything else, I'll probably do videos of this, start breaking it down. Subscribe to the Mo You Know. It's pinned in the chat. I think we need like 60 people. We'll have 400 subscribers over there. So if you could hit that subscribe button. Today is also the anniversary of Life After Death album. I think they playing that on purpose. Operation Diddy Do It. I don't know, man. Some wild times right now that we living in. But as long as you do right, you ain't got to worry about it. As long as we do right, we ain't got to worry about it. Yeah, Havana, they had Justin and Christian. They had both of them in handcuffs, but they ain't arrested at the point. They just being held because they were in the house. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I mean, we'll wait and see what other information comes out with this. We'll see if Diddy pops up. Wait. Diddy's $40 million mansion has an underwater tunnel, gym, and grotto. What was this? March 25th. 35-seat theater. 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, separate spa house, which comes with a steam room, massage room. What else is it got? 17,000 square feet, 3,000 square foot guest house. It's like where Will Smith and them lived at. Will and Carlton, they lived out in the pool house. Damn, and to think, all that work is about to go down the drain, man. About to lose all of it. Well, if anything pops up, I guess I'll talk about it tomorrow afternoon for me, because I'm about to go to bed. I know it's only what, 6 o'clock, 6, 7. So what, 4 on the West Coast. It's dark over in Miami. Y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Mo You Know. We'll probably do some more breakdown on this on Wednesday. So this is probably gonna be the hot topic for the week. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm about to get on out of here. Thank y'all for watching. I love y'all. We on the road to 50,000 subscribers. Y'all have y'all a good evening. Y'all be safe. And don't do what Diddy do. Follow the law. Now, thanks for watching. I'm out.